sat on the edge of the living room couch, hands folded, shoulders stiff. My parents leaned over me, voices low but urgent. "Just give him your project. Apologize, we owe him everything." Across the room, my uncle, the CTO, leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, warning in his voice. "That non-compete means you won't code for a year." I nodded, silent, tasting the metallic weight of obligation and doubt. Later, in flashes, I remembered the early days, staying late at the office under his watchful eye, trusting advice that never seemed optional, quietly absorbing the subtle lessons that loyalty to him was more important than my own judgment. The memory was calm, reflective, almost like looking at someone else's life. I had always done what was expected. Until now, deposition room smelled of paper and polished wood. My lawyer adjusted glasses, and I felt the faint pulse of anticipation, a nervous rhythm under the quiet of the room. He read the statute aloud, each word deliberate, precise. Noticed the pause in my uncle's stance, the subtle tightening in his jaw. My parents shifted, uneasy. The law itself was an intruder in a household long dominated by authority. I observed in silence. The shifting micro-expressions, the small hesitations, they told me more than their words ever did. The balance of power was changing, slowly, without a shout or confrontation. I felt a quiet certainty building inside me, a restrained confidence I hadn't allowed myself to acknowledge before. Memories surfaced, the nights coding alone on my project, the moments I had corrected errors that nobody else noticed, the intellectual labor that had been mine all along. I had leverage, agency. The authority of law, articulated calmly by my lawyer, tipped the scale. Then the uncle's attorney asked, slowly, deliberately, "When exactly did you pay her severance?" The room held its breath in the space between the words and their implications. Uncle's eyes flicked, slow recognition dawning. Silence stretched, a tense, living thing, until it finally sagged, almost apologetic. Around us, control had shifted, visible, undeniable. I remained composed, no gloating, no sudden triumph, just the soft, measured realization that the power I had once ceded had been quietly reclaimed. My parents were subdued, of guilt and confusion painted faintly across their expressions. My uncle, still rigid, now understood the limits of his authority. Walking out of the deposition, I felt the familiar pressure in my chest ease, replaced by something steadier, a subtle pride. The kind that doesn't shout, the kind that simply exists. Professional independence was no longer a promise, it was a fact. The family ties remained tangled, uncomfortable, but I was free, finally, to navigate my own path. Later I lingered in a quiet corridor, thinking about boundaries, about how much of myself I had surrendered and how much I had quietly reclaimed. The victory was small, celebrated, almost imperceptible. But it was mine, and that, I realized, was enough. Next,